Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of the Sir Alex Ferguson Challenge with West Ham. So I've finally powered through the summer transfer window and we will begin the start of season 2 today against Manchester City in the Community Shield. But before we get into the game today, we have of course got a lot of transfers to talk about. And these are the transfers we have made. We have spent £51 million this summer and sold £88 million worth of talent. Now some of these figures are absolutely insane and I think they may be toned down for the start of the FM19 proper game, not just the beta. But as you can see here, the craziest one here, Arthur Masuaku went to Watford for £30 million. Now bear in mind, he's a really good player. He was a backup to Aaron Creswell last season, but he did perform quite a few games because Aaron Creswell had injuries and rotation and things like that. But this wasn't even at the back end of the window. This was right at the beginning, the 16th of June. They came in with I think it was like a £10 million offer. He was worth 15. So I counted with a 30 million straight up front, no added clauses, nothing like that. And they just accepted it, no negotiation, no nothing. And they went for it. So that one was a bit confusing. He is a good left back. I was planning on just keeping them two as my left back options, but £30 million was too good to turn down. Next up was Joshua Guilavogui, is went to AC Milan for 19.75 million. Again, another really good midfielder, particularly in the defensive midfield position, but I wanted to get rid of some of our older players. You know, the average age of our squad last season must have been quite high, even when we brought in the likes of Reece Oxford and we're playing Declan Rice. But I just thought, 19.75 million, it's good enough, we'll get rid of him. Next up was Javier Hernandez. He's went to Lazio. This was another one that I ummed and ahed about, but he's 31 years old. He was on £140,000 a week. So we've sold him to Lazio for £17 million. Now, we are paying a stupid amount of money for one more year of his deal. We're paying £74,000. But considering he was on 140 and I wanted to reduce our wage budget, I was pleased to see the back of him really. He did perform well for us last season, got himself 11 goals in 17 games in the Premier League. But we did actually make a £1 million profit on him, so you can't complain too much. Next up was some random left mid that was sitting in our under 23s. Now he does actually look quite decent. He's okay. He's not fantastic by any stretch of the imagination, and I think he was a 2-star player with 3-star potential, so I was happy to get rid. And Crystal Palace came in with a £6.25 million offer. I bit the hand off. Fabian Balbuena, you'll not see much of this guy last season either. He is a decent centre-back, but with Reece Oxford coming into the team, he found his game time limited. He came in last season and he only made 7 appearances for the first team. We sold him to Wolves for, was it 6.6 million? He's a decent player. Happy to get him off the wage budget. We've got better options now. Jordan Hugill came back from one of his loan deals. I sold him for 3.4 million. I'm not even going to show this guy because we're never seen him in a West Ham shirt at least. So I was happy to get him off the wage bill and get a decent fee for him. Carlos Sanchez was someone who we played sparingly last season. You know, he was very much a backup to our backups. He only made 7 substitute appearances, not averaging a great average rating. So to get 1.9 million for him and get him off the wage budget was fantastic. Robert Snodgrass, I had all sorts of trouble getting rid of him, so he's went for £550,000 to Rostov. He was another one who was on like 40 grand a week, sitting in the under 23s doing absolutely nothing, so I was happy to get rid of him. Michael Antonio came back from his loan spell. I think he was at Nottingham Forest last season. Huddersfield, sorry. He was at Huddersfield. I offered him out for, I think his value was about 10 million. There was no biters. There was no biters at about 7.5 million. And then FC Nantes came in with a 90% wage loan with 200k per month offer. So we're getting a couple of million for his loan and they're paying the vast majority of his wages. So I was happy to get that off. So I thought that was £63,000 per week they're paying him. We are still paying 7 grand a week. I was happy to get rid. And Josh Cullen, one of our youngsters, probably never going to make it in the first team squad. He's went out on loan to Birmingham. Now, to start the ins. Tony Lato was a signing that I was never intending to make until Arthur Masuaku was sold. So this is Tony Lato. He's going to be our backup left back behind Aaron Creswell. He's pretty similar to Masuaku in a lot of ways. He's lacking the pace that Masuaku had, but he does have the potential. So a decent Spanish left back for, I think it was a relatively cheap fee, 6.5 million. You can't complain with that. Next up was Matias Henrique, a Brazilian central midfielder that was signed from the Brazilian league. Decently well-rounded. He will be backup, maybe. I might even try and loan him out because we have an offer in for someone a lot better. He hasn't come in yet, but I'll show him later on. He's a decent player. I'll get him as much game time as possible if he does stay at the club. Deep line playmaker defence seems to be his preferred, well, what fits his attributes best. He's got 5-star potential, £7 million, and you cannot complain. Dennis Mann came in from Roma next, 7.75 million. Classed as a wonder kid already, right midfielder, inside forward. We were struggling with Yarmolenko for form last season, and whilst the likes of Arnautovic and Felipe Anderson can play on that side, I wanted someone whose natural position was the right. They were left-footed to play that inside forward role. 3-star current, 4.5-star potential, I think is fantastic. And I'll get this guy will probably be our first choice purely based on his potential ability. Moise Keane was the next one to come in. I needed a new striker once we had sold Javier Hernandez, and I think for £15 million he's a bit of a steal. If any of you has watched my Sunderland save, you know I signed him to play on the left-hand side for Sunderland, but this time I'm going to be persistent with him up front. He'll be playing with the advanced forward role. I think he's got decent stats for that, really well-rounded physically. We'll see how he goes. He'll be fighting with Arnautovic for that striker spot. We'll see how it goes, but obviously he's natural on that left-hand side, so he can definitely deputise whenever Felipe Anderson is injured or lacking form. And finally, our final signing that we've confirmed so far in the transfer window was Marin Pongracic. Let's start that again. Marin Pongracic. Oh, let's call him Marin. Now, this guy is absolutely stupendous. I think he hasn't even got any caps for Croatia yet, which is a bit like, why not? Physically, he's just an absolute dream for a centre-back. He's only 21 years old, 3.5-star current, 5-star potential. Now, I know I can see what you're looking at. Tackling's only 11. But based on the rest of his stats, I'm not even concerned about it. I'm not bothered. Him and Reece Oxford will be our centre-backs for a long, long time, as long as we don't get any ridiculous offers for them. But yeah, so that's been our signing so far this summer. I'm really pleased with the players we've been able to bring in. Everyone's 21 or under. That's sort of the philosophy I always go with in my Football Manager saves, unless I'm really keen on somebody a little bit older, which is what I have done for one last player, Lucas Toussaint. I've got a £19 million offer in for him that has been accepted by Lyon. I haven't offered the contract yet, but he just looks like the complete package, you know. I'm scouting him currently. I'm guessing potential-wise he's pretty much there. I don't think he'll get much better than this, but you don't need much better than this. He'll be playing in the ball-winning midfielder role in central midfield should he come in. And I think he's going to be fantastic for the team. So that's all our transfer business that's happened so far. There is still a little bit left. 8th of August to get all of our deals done. There is some sales I still want to make. Lucas, he is listed and wanted. Nobody's took the bite yet. But I'm sure I'll be able to get rid of him before the end of the transfer window. But in terms of the team that we are going to be playing today, we'll start with Timo Horn in goal, as always. Timo Horn, just to remind you, we signed him in January for £15 million, £15.75 million, and he is going to be our first choice keeper this season. Our right back will be Wagnerman usually, but I think I'm going to start Sam Byram because Wagnerman's only 92% conditioning, but just to remind you, this is Wagnerman. Absolutely fantastic for an 18-year-old right back. I'm expecting big things in terms of his development this season. He's going to be getting plenty of game time, and as long as he can stay injury-free, we should be settled in the right back position. And just in terms of Sam Byram, actually, he was on loan last season. Obviously, Pablo Zabaleta's left the club on the end of his contract, and Sam Byram seems like a very, very good backup player. So I've got him to a new 2-year deal because his deal was running out at the end of the season. He's English, which actually comes in very handy because Brexit has happened, and the rules that we have to stick by is 17 foreign player limit. So we need to fill out our squad with English, Scottish, Northern Irish, Welsh and Irish players to be able to meet those requirements. In terms of centre-back this season will of course be Reece Oxford. I'll show you him in just a second. And Marin. Reece Oxford, this is Reece Oxford, wonder kid, English, centre-back, 20 years old, fantastic. If you can sign him in your save, get it done. Left back, our starting left back will of course be Aaron Creswell, a really well-rounded left back, English. We did have a £30 million offer come in from, I think it was Huddersfield maybe, for his services, but I'm not interested in selling them, to be honest with you. So if I could have got Josh Tymon in, I might have done that. Actually, we'll get Tony Lato starting because Creswell's suffering. I might actually drop Reece Oxford as well for Issa Diop, just to keep things fresh. This is essentially a glorified friendly. Deep line playmaker, I think we'll start. Who will we start? I'm not actually that sure who will start. We'll start with Mark Noble as our deep line playmaker in terms of a ball-winning midfielder. We'll start with Matthias Enrique. He's only on 93% conditioning, but I think he's got good stats. Although it's not one of his favourite roles, his aggression is a little bit low. I might swap him and Mark Noble, actually. I think Mark Noble might be a little bit better in that role himself. We'll have a quick check, see what he's like. Yeah, he's definitely a lot better. But in terms of the first 11, central midfielder is the spot that's most open. You know, we've got Declan Rice, who's trained to be a central midfielder. Pedro Obiang is a really good, well-rounded midfielder as well. So he'll probably start a lot of games. It's just going to be the case of finding what works, finding what doesn't, and sticking to it. In terms of our right midfielder at the start of the season, it will be Dennis Mann, but I'm going to start Yarmolenko right now. Yarmolenko should be, he's an elite winger. He should be an elite winger. He's worth 45 million. He is someone who I would have sold should interest have come into him. And I would have happily done the business there. But nobody's come in, so he will be starting this game today. I haven't signed anybody for that attacking midfielder centre spot, which, as you can see, is already causing issues with Manuel Lanzini being injured again. But I'm going to stick with Lanzini and Wilshere. There was nobody who stood out to me in terms of young players. A lot of the ones like you'll get to know in FM19 have already been snapped up by the bigger clubs, so I think we'll leave that for now. Felipe Anderson would usually be our starting left midfielder, of course. I'll quickly show you him. Absolutely fantastic. He's only 26, 4-star, confident winger. He's going to be here for quite a long time, or until an offer comes in that's worthy. But in terms of today's game, who are we going to start? Should we start Moise Kean? Can't. Arnautovic could. Lucas might have to start up front. Now, this is the issue I'm having. If I do sell Lucas, I might have to sign somebody else. We'll start with Arnautovic on the left and Lucas up top. One of the other worrying things is, by PSG came in for Arnautovic, they made a really derisory offer, actually 39 million, and a lot of it in clauses, non-negotiable. So I've rejected it out of hand. Of course, Arnautovic has kicked up a fuss. So don't be too surprised if you see him leaving before the beginning of the season. I'd rather not, but because it'll mean we'll have to get other players in. But yeah, we're just going to have to deal with that if it comes. In terms of the bench today, we'll start with Ogbonna and Declan Rice, Creswell, Wagnerman, Emmanuel Fernandez, Edmilson Fernandez, who I'll show you. He returned from loan. He was on loan at Fiorentina last season. He was, yeah. He had a decent season at Fiorentina, started the majority of the game, so I've promoted him to the first team squad. He is still going to be a backup, unfortunately for him, but he should be a good one at that. We'll have Dennis Mann and Felipe Anderson filling out the other substitute spots. So, Man City, Community Shield, let's get into it. Any crazy signings for them? Who is Gomez? Claudio Gomez? He is a youngster for Man City. He looks quite decent, so they're not taking this incredibly seriously. Milinkovic-Savic, world-class midfielder, making his debut for Man City. How much have they spent on him? 55 million. That's not bad at all. That's a really, really good signing. William Jose, how much have they signed him for? 18.75 last season. Decent. Their keeper, I have no idea who this guy is. Did they sign him in real life, or is that a Football Manager signing? I'm not too sure, but pretty standard Man City lineup. Not too many changes happening over the course of last season. We struggled against Man City last season really badly. You remember my opening game was against them, and they absolutely demolished us. They beat us at home as well, so I'm not expecting too much today, but we'll see how it goes. So, Community Shield, can we get another domestic trophy under our belts? I'm not sure I'll class this as a domestic trophy when the Sir Alex Ferguson comparison comes at the end of the season, but it would be nice to get it under our belt. Yarmolenko and Lato pick up knocks straight away, so we're going to get them both off. I didn't really want to play Creswell in this game, but he's going to have to get himself on in Yarmolenko. Dennis Mann is only 93%, but he's going to have to get himself on as well. Disappointing start to the game, that. Only half an hour in, we've already got 2 injuries. As we pick up with the first highlight of the game, Mahrez on the edge of the box for Man City. Oh, he's Gundogan with an excellent through ball for Sterling, who finds a pocket of space between our centre-halves, but it won't stand, it's offside, never mind. And that's it, half-time. West Ham 0, Man City 0, the most dull first half I think I've had at the start of FM19, definitely. If it wasn't for that disallowed goal, we would have had nothing to talk about whatsoever, apart from the injuries. So we'll kick off the second half, shooting from left to right this time. The opening highlight straight from kick-off. Kyle Walker gets the ball on the right-hand side, plays a good cross in. Diop missed his header and was made to pay for it. Obviously, Diop's not in the starting 11 anymore, so we should be a bit more comfortable once Reece Oxford comes back in. But a decent ball in by Kyle Walker. Diop couldn't really do much about that despite his height. William Jose puts Man City in front. Highlight now, free kick for us. Dennis Mann plays it. Matt Ayes and Henrique to Diop. And we'll give the ball away. Raheem Sterling can come away with it for Manchester City, and Riyad Mahrez gets it now. Danilo playing left back for Man City, interestingly enough. I'm not sure, but maybe Benjamin Mendy's injured or they haven't signed anybody else. But Gundogan to Milinkovic-Savic takes the strike. Did you see the bend on that? I have never ever seen a shot like that on Football Manager. The curve, it almost denied physics actually. That was a bit much. William Jose with a free kick. Oh my god, what a free kick that was. He beats Timo Horn at the far post. He makes it 2-0, gets his second goal of the game. Let's take a look at this in 3D. Oh, that was... See the curve on the ball and the spin. I don't think I've ever seen that in the match engine. Maybe I have, and I've just completely ignored it before, but that was absolutely fantastic. We'll get Declan Rice on for... What's his face? Matt Ayes, Enrique. And we'll play out the final 10 minutes of this game. Maybe we can get a goal back, who knows. Aaron Creswell with the ball now. Declan Rice finds Lucas. A lot of space for Sam Byram on this right hand side. If he can get a decent delivery in, he beats his man who's there. Jack Wilshere on Arnautovic, and all sorts of space in the box. And he gets us back in the game, makes it 2-1. Sam Byram does well here. He beats Zinchenko down this right hand side. Decent delivery in. You can see the curve on that. I've completely ignored the curve all of last season. I can't remember seeing it. And now you're seeing the ball spin on. No, that was spinning on the top. Another highlight 85 minutes in, and we are in possession, but we'll give it away, and William Jose is through. Oh my god. He tried to chip that. That was cheeky. Arnautovic with a free kick. Oh, he hits the bar. Could have made it 2-2. Come on, Arnautovic. Keep the ball. It goes out of play. 30 seconds remain in the match, and there's probably all she wrote, really. Milinkovic-Savic bringing the ball forward for Man City. Danilo with a cross. It goes out of play. The referee's probably going to blow the full-time whistle. That's it. Full-time, Man City 2, West Ham 1. Not too disappointed with that, you know. It's a Community Shield. The board didn't care about it. I don't care about it, really. But it's nice to be involved. You know, you have to win the league or the FA Cup to be involved in that, and we've done it. Fortunately, the injuries aren't anything too fierce. The Toussaint contract offer has been accepted, and he doesn't want a crazy wage either. So you can expect to see this guy in the next episode. There's 4 days left of the transfer window, so I will bring you any updates that happen in the next episode. Obviously, Arnautovic situation needs to be resolved. I either sell him or I force him to stay. He does not want to stay. He's unhappy. I've obviously got Lucas as well that I would like to sell whilst his value is still high, but it depends if an offer comes in for him. And if these two do go, we've obviously got big transfers to make. Anyway, if you've enjoyed today's video, please consider leaving a like, and if you're enjoying my content, get yourself subscribed. But until next time, take it easy.